You said earlier this week that this can be a really powerful time for change. What makes you think that now is the time that that change can occur?
Well, I just think, we're seeing some unprecedented things taking place, because of what has taken place. And as you alluded to, the frustration, the emotion, the anger, all that's wrapped up. But what I'm seeing when you talk about the protesting that's taking place, and a lot of peaceful protesting that's taking place, but you're seeing people from all walks of life. They're out there together. And, what took place in Minnesota, I think it really touched the souls of a lot of individuals. If you don't have a soul, it wouldn't stir with that incident, then something's wrong with you. And I think so we're seeing a lot of, and it's not only just in our country, but around the world. And I think it's an opportunity, and the biggest key, I think, is that we got to listen. Obviously, with this civil unrest, the racism, and all the things that have taken place, I think it's an opportunity for all parties to sit down. And I think until black, white, brown, red, whatever color we are, so we can sit down and have a conversation. And it's going to be an uncomfortable conversation, because we've been to this point before. But now, can we sit down and have a real conversation?
How much do you want your players to know that you are okay with them speaking out about these things?
Well, I think we can be agent changers. I say we can be agent changers. We've got a platform. I've got a platform. I think our players have an opportunity, because the thing we know about basketball and sports, it unifies people. And so with our guys being out there on the big stage, it gives us them the opportunity to go out and talk about unity and talk about the things that are taking place. Like I said, the beauty of the movement is that there's a lot of young people, great minds. And I think when those great minds get together, some good things can take place. Now, it's going to take not only the young people, but the old people too.
I saw the New York Post interview you did earlier this week. You said you could write a book on the limited opportunities that you had to overcome growing up in Birmingham, Alabama, and playing for Coach Richardson, then coaching with him. What can you say about your journey during those times?
I think as I was on that journey, I saw some things that, most people don't get a chance to see it. And even from where I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, there was racial segregation with the housing. You talk about having poor education. You talk about health care and all those things there. And but I wanted to use basketball as an opportunity for me to open up some doors in my life. And so even as I went on that journey and got into the coaching ranks with Coach Richardson, we saw it on big display at Arkansas. And I'm right there on the ground level of seeing it. A tremendous Hall of Fame coach, great. But there was double standards. I mean, as a black man in that profession, and really, I thought he was a pioneer. He and John Chaney and George Raveling, when you think about those guys, Coach Chaney, John Thompson, when you think about those guys, they open up doors for guys like myself. And you look in the Big East, which I think is one of the more big leagues that are really staying ahead of the curve. They got 5 black coaches, but giving opportunities, and all about opportunities. So when you talk about my journey, there are some jobs that I probably should have had at an early time in my career, but it didn't happen. Why? Probably because of the color of my skin. And but my attitude was, you know what? I'm going to keep knocking on those doors, until those opportunities present themselves. And so even as I'm here at St. John's, I think there's a reason why I'm here at St. John's, and I'm going to use my platform and use my voice and continue to open up doors.
One thing that I found profound was when you had a Zoom meeting with your players, it was David Karaher, a white player, who spoke up and talked about this social injustice and how it needs to end. How important is it, Coach, in these times that it's not just people of color, but people of non-color who are speaking out about this?
Well, John, that's what I'm talking about. You can't be silent about it. And I think when you get, whites as well as blacks, and all races, then I think now the conversation can be had, and then we can make some differences. And I was proud of David, but it doesn't surprise me because of I think the culture that we have here. I think what St. John's is all about, and what kind of person he is. You know, you don't judge a person by the color of the skin, but by the content of the character. And I think, you know, as we continue to conversate, when we start valuing other people's lives as much as our own, then I guess what? We start moving the ball in the right direction. This is something been going on for many, many hundreds of years, and it's not going to change overnight. But progress has been made, but there's still a lot more room to grow.
Part of those action steps is what you're going to do on November 3rd with your team. What is that?
We're going to vote, no question about it. We're going to register, and then we're going to go vote. And the voting is not only just at the federal level. You want to do it at the local levels too, where, you know, a lot of these reforms need, where a lot of changes take place. So we're going to cut all the activities out, and we're going to go vote. But you know, one of the things I think as a black coach and in my career, I've always tried to make our guys inclusive, make our guys involved in the community, and try to make a difference. I think that's the biggest thing. You know, every year I'll bring in the chief of police to come in and sit down and visit with our guys, because they're going to be, because of the systematic racism, there are going to be opportunities where they may stop you, and you got to be able to know how to react to that. You know, those are little things that people don't talk about. You know, so I guess as a coach, I'm talking about the game of life now.
What's your message to fans, followers of your program about this topic?
Is speak out. I think speak out. I mean, if what we saw, and we saw with George Floyd, you know, because what bothers me right now, we had so many incidents take place. We got the pandemic going on, and so what the pandemic, COVID-19 has done is put a magnifying on all the inequalities, and we're seeing the injustice. But to see it on display with George Floyd, can you imagine? I'm jogging out, I'm running out, just running in the neighborhood, jogging. Because of what happened to the Aubrey kid, now I'm going like, you know, I shouldn't be worried about that. Or I'm driving my car, police stop me. You just think, should I be worried about that? I'm worried about it, what took place with George Floyd. So my message would be, number one, is that I think when we, as I said, as we value our own lives, we value others, then I think we'll move in the right direction. And but we got to have the heart. It's a hard conversation, but I think now is the time. And I'm more encouraged now because of what I'm seeing. You know, people are talking, people are standing up, not only in our country, but guess what? Around the world.
Mike, I appreciate you taking the time today, and I really appreciate your willingness to talk about the racism and social injustice issues in our world. I know how important it is to you and your program and beyond, and continue to be well. Thanks so much for taking the time again.
Hey, John, appreciate you having me on. Thank you very much.